Hello, and welcome to a mini episode of Composed Living with Elsa Elbert. I am your host, Elsa, and I have been meaning to record this episode since January, and then since early February. And now I thought, what better timing than the absolute end of February? I guess a part of what we can talk about too is why I've been so flexible with my schedule and all of these things. So I really just wanted to give everyone an update on all things composed living and composed giving, what's going on personally. Um, the end of the year, beginning of a new year is always such an important time for me. I love those transitions, and I'm a big fan of tradition and making sure that I've carved out time to reflect on what went well, reflect on things that didn't go so well, surprises. There's always, I feel like at the end of the year, good surprises and bad surprises. And I just like taking some time, usually more than a day these days, and journaling about it and just sitting and being mindful of how I felt and what part of that do I want to carry into this year, and what part of it did I not want to repeat. And so it was awesome. We also timed this with having a intentional goal setting workshop at the Composed Living retail and workshop space. And that was so much fun. We had a group of women come together and we did some journaling, and we did the values deck that was made by a good friend of mine, Jamie Brooks. And we just talked about how do you align your goals with your values, because I think that that's really important, and it's easier to meet your goals and to stay feeling passionate about them when it's directly tied to your values as a human being. So we did that, which was awesome. Coming into that, I had sort of already done my end of year planning preparation, and 2023 was a very busy year for me, both professionally and personally. And it's a little bit difficult for me to accept that sometimes, because I feel like I also still have so much, I don't want to say free time, but it's almost like I think about downtime as being like, what a waste of time, or I could have been doing something more or different. That feeling translates very often in me to overwhelm, burnout. And I think I sort of became a little bit complacent with that, where I started to accept that because I have the tools to recover from being burned out, and because I know how to take care of myself just before that becomes a crisis, I've gotten into this pattern of sort of that becoming the new normal. Like, how can I work right up until the point of breaking down and then take a day or 2 days to sort of like bring down that extremely high stress level so that I can go back to it again. And ultimately, that's not in line with any of my values. Like, massive amounts of productivity is definitely not what I would consider one of my core values. And it's not healthy. And it just simply was something that I wanted to leave behind. I think it served its purpose and it has gotten me to where I am in a lot of ways, but I don't want to carry that with me moving forward. So I wanted to have a very easy slogan or mantra, if you will, going into 2024. And I was workshopping it with Chad back and forth. I wanted something like simplify and something like I like the alliteration of them both starting with the same letter. But the gist of it was that I wanted to simplify everything that I'm doing and perfect. So do less, but do it really well and be extremely proud about the service or the product or the conversations that we are sharing with people, because we know that we've given it our absolute best without feeling overwhelmed, without coming to the breaking point, and without dealing with stuff I don't want to deal with anymore. And so we went back. I was like, prune and perfect. And I was like talking to girlfriends about this. We're having brainstorming sessions, and like just nothing really felt right. And so I emailed it to the team. I think we'd come up with like fine tune and fucking crush. I was like, that's cute, but also so much energy goes into that second half of it. And like, I don't want to be out. I mean, I do want to be crushing it, but like, I want it to feel like that's coming from a place of ease and simplicity, not from like sheer force. So sent it to the team, and one of our incredible composed living employees came back with simplify and slay. And I was like, yes, nailed it. This is exactly the mantra that I want coming into this year. And because of that, when I look at my to-do list, or we have a project planning software called Asana that I love, and it helps me organize every facet of my life. I have like a different project for each one. So like one for CASA, one for Alliance of Moms, one for personal tasks, one for home renovation, 100 for composed living. But there are days where I will wake up and look at those tasks, and now I can acknowledge that that is simply too many things for one human being to be doing in one day. And I spend a good amount of time. I think I have spent a lot of time just starting off this year, and why this podcast has come to be, sort of 2 months past when I wanted it to come out. It's all for the benefit of simplify and slay. I wake up every day and I think, what do I have to do today? What do I really want to do today? What do I not need to do at all that is on this list? What can I just absolutely say no to? And what can I do a different day? And then I started getting kind of overwhelmed because it takes a lot of money to start a retail store from scratch. And so we had this big financial investment going into the second half of last year. It's the first time I've taken on business debt. And even though it was intentional and really well thought out, just financial debt in general really terrifies me. And it's not a feeling that I love. I don't understand how people can live in this space and be happy with it. I'm like constantly feeling just terrified. I can't think of a better word to describe how being in debt makes me feel. And that, feeling mixes with like, also this was necessary and it has a wonderful purpose. And I'm so thankful for the store and all of these things. So it's a lot of emotions. But just so you know where I was coming from emotionally going into this year. Um, we took on a lot last year. I took on a lot. The business took on a lot. The team took on a lot. We launched a nonprofit called Composed Giving. We opened a retail store and a workshop space, and I've never run a retail store. I've never handled inventory or window design or table displays. I love it. I'm so passionate about choosing the products and the vendors that we work with. They're all such beautiful companies creating really lovely things that I feel like truly are doing right by the planet, and they're helping people live better in their homes and focused on mindfulness and the events. I've never had to market or get people to show up to an event or a workshop, and what a nightmare. In my mind, it's like you just tell people once, and of course, like all your people just show up, and there they are, and you have this beautiful workshop, and you just start from a place of like sold out success. So it's very humbling, and I'm learning a lot, and it is fun and it is frustrating. And some events are just an absolute disaster and nobody shows up. And some events really take us by surprise and people show up and they're wonderful and everything in between. So we've learned a lot, but that's also a lot of work. It's a lot of work to learn so many different things. We started the podcast last year too. And I don't know anything about podcasting, obviously, if you're listening to this. And yeah, so simplify and slay. I told the whole team, nothing new this year. I don't want to bring on anything new, and I want to do a lot less of what we're doing, but I want to do it extraordinarily well. And it's so fun. It's so fun for me, you guys, to look at something and just say, that's not for me. Like it's a great idea. I love the idea. I love the creativity. Somebody else is going to do that and do it really well. But I know what I want to do, and I know what I want to do really well, and the offerings that I want to bring to this world. And at this moment in time, I simply don't need any new ones. So we're going to simplify and slay this year. And that's translating into all aspects. There's events that I get invited to that I just think, that would be so cool if I was there, but also it's going to be so cool just to like spend a night at home with my family and watch Friday Night Lights reruns and just relax and feel really good and present in the moment. So that's kind of composed living update. I guess it's kind of a lie that we're doing something, not doing anything new. We do have a couple of new things, but to be fair, I did do them last year and we've just launched them in this year. All the work was done last year. Trying to justify my own, not keeping my own boundaries for myself. We've launched guided meditations that are available on our website under the download section. There are 2 that are live on there right now. They are so helpful. It's something that I have done myself many, many times, and I wanted to be able to share with everybody else. So I hope that you will check them out. One of them is about creating your ideal vision or your living vision. This is such a beautiful exercise to get very clear on what you want your life to look and feel like, all aspects of your life. And then the other one is a guided meditation on letting go of what no longer serves you, which can be a physical object, an emotion, a relationship, just a really beautiful visual for walking through how to give honor to that and let it go so that you can move forward with your life. I like doing guided meditations more than anything. I guess I have not tried as often as a guided meditation to just sit in silence and meditate. I find that my brain responds faster to a guided meditation, almost like I'm just reading a book or watching a movie. I'm able to shut off my own thoughts a little bit easier and just listen. So that's very helpful for me. Anyway, guided meditations, that is new / not new. And we have maintenance programs for our existing clients now, which I'm so excited about because it's just such a good offering for people. Think of it as like a little 6-hour spruce for your home. I mean, even I need that, I'm just doing it for myself. And then I was thinking about our clients who, especially the clients we've known for years, who we love, and we're so familiar with their home and their preferences. And so now we have beautiful little 6-hour packages where we can come in either twice a year or 4 times a year and just give your home a little refresh, And the beauty of having already worked with us and doing a maintenance plan is really, like I said, the familiarity that we already have with your space. And we've already put some systems in place for you. So you don't need to participate as much. We can just come in and sort of put things back where they go, maybe give you some new labels, maybe take out some things you've accumulated that you're no longer using, and just get that beautiful reset for your space where it's not going to get to a place where you're feeling very overwhelmed. So those are the 2 new things, and now nothing else new will happen for the rest of this year. But you can be guaranteed that everything else we do, we're going to spend a lot of time analyzing and reviewing and figuring out how we can do it even better. So that is officially the end of the composed living update. What else? On a personal note, Chad and I both did dry January, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for such a long time, and it has just never happened. I don't know why, but we did it, and it felt incredible. And the first couple of days, I noticed that my body has like a real response to sugar in the evenings. I don't eat a lot of sweets or a lot of things that have high sugar content, other than maybe like fruit in the morning. But usually I would have a glass or 2 of wine every evening. And I think my body, over like decades of this being the habit, really got accustomed to having a sugar delivery mechanism in the evening. So that was interesting to go through and to deal with. And I just sort of embraced it and let it happen. And sometimes I would take a bite of like a piece of dried fruit or a chocolate bar. I know it's not healthy, but I love the tiny Coca-Colas or like the tiny Coke Zeros. So sometimes I would have one of those as like my replacement treat, just to kind of satisfy that little sweet tooth. And it's amazing the changes that I saw in my body and my skin, my mood. I mean, immediately, like all brain fog disappeared after the first week. I slept so well. And for someone who struggled with insomnia and not sleeping all the way through a night for decades, it was really lovely to sleep all the way through a night and just wake up without an alarm clock, ready to go, brain firing on all channels. Feel like my memory was better, my speech was improved. I lost like 8 pounds, which was really, I mean, I also started running, but I think the combination of the two, like I was able to exercise more regularly because I was getting up earlier naturally. And anyway, if anyone's ever curious about what that feels like for your body and wants to try it, I'd love to chat with you about it. And I highly recommend it. It's just such a beautiful reset for all parts of your body and mind. It's also a great financial reset. You know, even if you don't drink very often, it's so expensive to go out and order cocktails or wine. So we love that part too. Like we went out for a really nice dinner and just drank water, and we were able to order more food than we would like. It was just so nice, you know, like you're automatically saving $100 by like not having cocktails with dinner, at least in Los Angeles. I mean, if you live somewhere else, maybe cocktails are cheaper, but here they're quite expensive. Yeah, so I started running. My trainer, Liz Schmall, created a beautiful half marathon training plan for me so that I could very easily prepare for a half marathon that we were going to do together in May over Mother's Day weekend. And I was feeling so good. And then I started having problems with one of my feet again. And if you've known me for a long time, you know I had surgery on both of my feet in 2016 and they were doing great. And now one of them is not doing so great. And the advice of the doctor was to not do any movement which bends my toes. So I encourage you to try spending 5 minutes of your day living your normal life without bending your toes in either direction. It's quite difficult. So to be continued, we will have to find a new physician to work with who has maybe some better suggestions and opportunities for me to remedy that situation and still maintain a higher level of physical activity. But that was a little bit disheartening and then also just kind of funny, you know, like you make plans and you think that everything's going to go smoothly and then the universe is like, why don't you try training for a half marathon when you can't use your right foot? So just taking it as it comes, and we'll find some beautiful, awesome healer, I'm sure, and we'll get it remedied. But in the meantime, now Liz has created a new kind of training plan for me that is all flat-footed exercises. So that's also been hilarious. And secretly, I'm not mad about not having to do things like jumping jacks and burpees. That's no more. All the miserable things have gone out of the way. And I love doing squats and upper body days and core days. So we'll get there. What else is new? I guess I had so many updates to share with you. I was picturing this being like a 3-minute one-sided conversation. We have so many incredible workshops and events coming up in the store. So if you're local to Los Angeles, please check out our events page on the website. We have clothing swaps. We have painting classes for kids. We have paint and sip evenings for adults. We have a conversation with a death doula coming up, talking all about beautiful options for helping your parents age gracefully and end of life planning. I know it sounds morbid, but it's wonderful. And I just did a podcast episode with her today, actually, and I'm very excited to share this information with people. Krista Mason, our incredible photographer for our brand, is doing a iPhone product photography workshop, which I'm so excited to take. I think I can learn so much just even having a retail store now and having to photograph products in place. Like this is not my area of expertise. And she's an extraordinary photographer and is going to teach us how to do product photography with our phones. So that's super cool. Uh, we have a rotating artist every 2 months approximately on the big blank wall at the back of the space. So this month we have Monica And her stunning landscape oil paintings are up on the wall for sale or just to come and check them out because they're so stunning. And then on April 1st, Bree McWade, our marketing genius, she has a whole series of these really absolutely stunning drawings. It's called City as Muse. And I think she's going to be displaying a series of drawings that she's done of buildings throughout Los Angeles, Seattle, and New York. We'll also have an artist opening reception, so you can come have a glass of champagne, talk to her about her work. Yeah, so much going on. I'm so infinitely grateful for you and your support in all of the ways. Please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you can to keep this podcast going because I have so much fun with it. Even though it's a little bit weird to talk to my own reflection on a Zoom, but I try not to think about that too much. I hope you have a wonderful day and stay tuned for more amazing episodes.